Mike Pachelli here. Thanks for tuning in. For this lesson, I'll be talking about the Beatles' recording of Do You Want to Know a Secret that they did in 1963. The song was written by John Lennon in 1962, probably at the apartment that Brian Epstein loaned to John and his then wife Cynthia to stay at, and perhaps it was influenced a bit by a 1961 song by the Stereos called I Really Love You. And for my money, I'm thinking that the intro and the middle eight was probably written by Paul. They gave the song to George Harrison to sing because the melody was very simple. And about that, John has said, "My mother was a comedian and a singer. She used to do this little tune when I was just a 1 or 2 year old. The tune was from the Disney movie. Want to know a secret? Promise not to tell. You are standing by a wishing well." So I had this sort of thing in my head, and I wrote it and just gave it to George to sing. I thought it would be a good vehicle for him because it only had 3 notes, and he wasn't the best singer in the world. He has improved a lot since then, but in those days, his singing ability was very poor because A, he hadn't had the opportunity, and B, he concentrated more on the guitar. So I wrote that, not for him as I was writing it, but when I had written it, I thought he could do it. February 11th, 1963, the Beatles are at EMI Studio 2, and they do the entire recording in 1/2 hour, with the musicianship being John and George on their Gibson J160Es. George was plugged into his Vox amp, and John's was mic'd, Paul on bass, and Ringo on drums. Take 6 is the best, with George singing live, and then John and Paul overdubbed the background vocals while transferring the 2-track tape to another, and Ringo played drumsticks on that transfer. The song was mixed on February 25th. They recorded it 6 more times for BBC Radio on Here We Go, On the Scene, Side by Side, Saturday Club, and 2 times on Pop Go the Beatles. They played it live on some of their shows in '63 in the UK, but they never played it in America. And it was released on the Please Please Me album in March of 1963 in the UK, and on Introducing the Beatles in the USA in January of 1964. So that's the backstory. Let's get started. George Harrison is playing his Gibson J160E on Do You Want to Know a Secret? And he has it plugged into his Vox amp. I'll keep it acoustic here for the lesson, and I'll plug it in for my sound-alike to my Vox AC30. Nice simple song, again, for beginner to intermediate guitar players. A lot of chords, though. And on the intro, you'll need an E minor, an A minor, you'll need a G, an F, and a B. And then there's a little lick that he plays. Nice. Starts on the end of 1. He goes 1. And that single E note is where he starts singing. So the whole intro is like this. And remember, it's just freely played along with the singing, so as you do it as you like. Now, during the verse, there's a couple more chords. The actual chords now are an E, there's a G sharp minor, a G minor, and an F sharp minor. But of note, for the most part, George only plays those on the inside 4 strings. He pretty much goes a B7, but again, a lot of times he only plays the bottom 2 strings, or sometimes just all 4 inside. You'll also need, let's see, what new chords? An A and a C sharp minor on a verse. The charts and tabs will show you exactly where he plays what, but I'll try to simulate it. So here's the verse. 3, 4. You see on the C sharp minor, he just arpeggiates the middle strings. He plays the chord. So, all right. And then verse 2 is pretty much identical to verse 1. George had a plan and he stuck to it. Now on the bridge, there's one new chord, a B minor. And the 6-measure bridge sounds like this. 3, 4. Got it? Let me do that real slow so you can see the syncopation. 3, 4. And then verse 3 is nearly identical to verse 1 and 2. Again, charts and tabs if you want to be very precise, but verse 3 sounds like this. 3, 4. That's the fade. If I didn't point it out enough, no, on those G sharp minor to G minor to F sharp minor, you kind of voice the chord, but then just play on the 5th string. So you don't go. Just. Again, charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com will make this all perfectly clear, clearer than I could say it or play it. But that's George's part on Do You Want to Know a Secret? John Lennon is also playing his Gibson J160E on Do You Want to Know a Secret, but they mic'd his guitar instead of him plugging it in. So he plays pretty much the same part that George played, same chords and almost the same rhythm. The intro is a little different though. He plays an E minor like this, to an A minor, back to E minor, then his G is here, 4-note, to an F, and he makes a B6. And of course he's doing like this free tremolo strumming. So he had a very supple wrist, and sometimes I think he used probably the round part of an oval-shaped pick, which makes it a little easier. And I think the secret is the first strum is a little hard, and then just really lightly on the strings to get the tremolo effect, kind of like. You also might want to try, sometimes it helps if you anchor your pinky onto the pick guard. Kind of helps. And don't get too hung up on doing it perfectly, because John doesn't do it perfectly either, but that's basically the idea. Just strum and then just lightly across the strings. Okay? Then the same chords for the most part, but John plays a little fuller. Sometimes he's fully strumming all 6 strings. So his E's are like, and maybe full G sharp minor, G minor, F sharp minor. sometime, but also playing the low. But maybe, whatever you like. And all the same chords, A to B. So I'll just play you a verse. Here's a verse of John's. 3, 4. Then into verse 2, which is pretty much identical to verse 1. And then on the bridge, I think it's exactly the same as George's, just maybe a little fuller, strumming than George's middle. You could probably strum all 6 strings a lot. So a bridge is like 2, 3, 4. Got that just fuller strumming than George did. I'll do it slow for you. Again, the bridge so we understand that syncopation. 3, 4. And then on the way out, verse 3, nothing different than verse 1, pretty much, just fuller strumming. 3, 4. Again, charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com will make it perfectly clear on John's part, but that's pretty much what he did on Do You Want to Know a Secret? Well, I put it together in a sound alike so you can see how both guitar parts fit together, so do have a look at this.
You'll never know how much I really love you. You'll never know how much I really care. Listen, do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Whoa, whoa, closer. Let me whisper in your ear. Say the words you long to hear. With you, listen. Do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Whoa, whoa, closer. Let me whisper in your ear. Say the words you long to hear. I'm in love with you. A secret for a week or two. Nobody knows, just we do. Listen, do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? I do. Whoa, whoa, closer. Let me whisper in your ear. Say the words you long to hear. I'm in love with you.
Those are the guitar parts of George and John on Do You Want to Know a Secret? I suggest you download the charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com. Learn both parts, play along with my sound-alike, and you'll get it just like the Beatles. And I really appreciate your consideration in supporting my work that way. And if you haven't, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that moves me up in the YouTube queue. So have fun playing this great old song, and until next time, I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.